I have no sound. I didn't know we were starting. I was talking about old Chiefs teams. Sorry. My bad. Here we go. We're back. Now we're back.
About the good old days.
I got you, Dust. it was from last year we were talking about. What up, KW?
He was looking back wistfully.
On the ropes.
What a
Who's
run
on the
it
ropes?
You just did a long soliloquy. You didn't even recognize that Brew was in like nod mode.
Brew asked me a question.
Brew was in nod mode. Brew does not like to talk 2 minutes before the show. He was like,
This is.
And you kept on going. He's like,
This is what I said before the show.
You're just on
what
the
I
ropes.
said before the show was accurate.
Which
is, I have my goal of the next 3 days is to repair our relationship, you and me, KW. We're good.
No.
Brew. He's mad at me. I don't know why. He's like my wife. I know you're mad. You keep saying you're not mad. Just tell me why you're mad, because we're about to be out in public in Kansas City together, and we need to present.
All right, I don't want to be weird. I'm not mad. The Chiefs are just 0-1, and your emotions are scrambled.
No, you're seeing anger everywhere.
It's like this
your wife, wild.
That's not what it is. It's just that the Chiefs are 0-1. That's it.
Can I tell you something?
That's what it is.
I think you're right.
Yeah. We start with the Bears. Caleb was 10 for 10. He's like, man, this is really working. Chicago was rolling, and then the wheels came off. 2 touchdowns, 210 yards overall. But he only completed 44% of the rest of his passes. That's not good. Do you feel better or worse about Caleb and the Bears?
All right, can I tell you guys something?
Oh, wow.
Here we go. Man, you are just on tilt, dude.
I'm not on tilt.
2 straight days.
I just have to tell you guys something.
Okay.
So I don't live tweet Chiefs games, but I live tweet basically any other standalone game. I'm usually live tweeting. And I'm known to be, a little bit of a smart aleck, particularly if some of my takes look like they're going to prove correct.
You?
And something struck me as concerning, because in the midst of Caleb starting 10 for 10, I didn't want to tweet, because watching it, I was like, I don't think this is going to keep up. You agree,
exactly
Brew?
Where I was with the Ravens.
With the Ravens.
With the Bills. I was like...
Because even with that start, some of it was so hard. Like, he had to twice do kind of magical things to get a dump off.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, they do spin around and escape to end up checking down. And so the answer to the question is, I feel much worse. And it started with the Tyler Dunn article on his website over the weekend, which talked about the dysfunction of last year, the personality, work ethic, or other potential issues that might prevent Caleb from reaching his full potential. Then during this game, it was so bad pre-snap. And Coach Mangini might emphasize that, but he did call someone into motion with 3 seconds on the play clock. Right. They were getting out of the huddle late. The penalties, which we can show you, there were a bunch of penalties. They're not all on Caleb. The pre-snap ones are not even all on Caleb because it's false start, you know what I mean? Right. But some of them are. And the fact that he seems to be, at this point in his career, a bit of an emotional roller coaster, because he had not missed a pass until the 4th down that he missed badly.
Yep.
And then you instantly saw him doing this thing on the bench again. Now, he did, I don't want to say he snapped out of it, but it's not like, he was, but he was a different player after that. He's a player that the talent is undeniable. The play on the sideline is undeniable that only a handful of guys in the whole league can make. But if it was just that the pre-snap stuff is bad, then I deal with that to get that.
Sure.
But when you add to it, he also missed some layups that would have won them the game, like easy passes. You know what I mean? The 4th down should have been an easy pass. He had a touchdown to Rome that could have been, or DJ Moore, pardon me. And so I am not out on Caleb Williams. I am pumping the brakes on my own timeline of when he will become a great player, because I think he is further behind than he should be his first start of year 2.
Wow.
I do feel that way.
This is a momentous day.
Well, to use, and obviously I know he's not your main guy. Your main guy is Mahomes. But, you know, Nick likes to use the dating, you know, the Rams dating him and all that.
Yes.
This is what we just witnessed. This is the equivalent of, I want to see other people. I mean, that's really what this is.
That was
right. I want to see it. We can still hang out, have fun, but I want to see.
We're no
people.
longer exclusive.
Yeah, that's what that was. So I'm just letting you know.
Thanks, bro.
But look, I'm with you to some degree in that I feel worse too about the Bears. I know it's just one game. I don't want to overreact. We're obviously not changing our picks at this point. They look like the worst team in the division, unless Detroit really has fallen off. I mean, obviously
the Packers
Green Bay
look
looks
awesome,
great,
and
Minnesota just beat them.
Yeah,
and then Detroit, we assume, will still be a pretty good team. Minnesota's defense was better. Minnesota's quarterback was better yesterday, at least. Their run game was better. Mm-hmm. Their coaching was better. I mean, the adjustments they made at halftime just seemed to have Ben Johnson, like he didn't, you know, they didn't react well to him. And a lot of this, obviously, how you feel about the Bears is a lot about Caleb. And look, he had his moments as he did his last year too, but he looked good at points. But Nick, and I think that quote from him supports what I'm about to say. He looks like a great athlete playing quarterback rather than a quarterback who happens to be a great athlete, like Mahomes, like Lamar, like Josh Allen. Like, he looks like a great, and the fact that you're still your second season, heck, first, I can't really think off the top of my head the last quarterback that we talked so much about, and he's talking in press conferences about we got out of the huddle fast. Or the plays came.
And by the way,
like,
I didn't think they got out of the huddle fast.
No, but you know what I'm saying? Just basic stuff that we take for granted. Like when you watch Caleb, you're looking to see that stuff. You're not really looking for that with any other quarterback, even a lot of the rookies for the most part. And so to me, that shows this dude is a phenomenal athlete, and he is. Like the runs he made, the speed he showed.
And the arm strength is
the
unreal.
arm strength. And so even like early on when he was 10 for 10, and Aikman did a great job of talking about this. Yeah, he was 10 for 10, obviously a lot of stuff underneath, checkdowns, but he was missing some stuff down the field. And to me, that says that Caleb he's thinking too much. Like he was in his mind, and Aikman talked about it, Ben Johnson has just been like completions, which has its value, but he was checking down like, it was like he almost made up in his mind, this is where I'm going. I just want to make it easy, which I get because that's what's being drilled into his head, but that shows he's not playing instinctively. His instincts are more what we saw in the second half. I'm not even talking about the inaccuracy, but running. He wants to run. And I actually think you should not treat him like Justin Fields.
No.
But I think they need to lean more into him running. Like he can be a dual threat quarterback. I'm not saying he'll be this good, but like a Lamar, like a Josh is a dual threat. Jalen.
Justin Fields, I wouldn't do, but like early Lamar.
No, not Justin Fields
but
at all.
early Lamar I think is interesting. You know what I mean?
Jalen Hurts? I mean, Jalen Hurts even. Like he has that ability. And he's just running now when he's scrambling. And maybe they're just like, look, we just want to get him playing on time. We don't want to get him thinking about running.
As Jalen.
No, he's not Jalen. Well, I would imagine he's bigger than Lamar, though. He's bigger than Lamar.
Oh, I don't think so.
No.
You don't think Caleb Williams is more like stockier than Lamar?
I think Lamar is like shot. Have you seen Lamar's neck? I talk about this
the
a lot,
neck. I think, but whatever the case, I do think he should be able to run more. So, look, he's a work in progress. I do feel worse about them and him to a degree. But like Nick, I'm not giving up on him.
Oh, but
it wasn't a great look.
Go, KW.
I'm just saying, if Caleb is open to seeing other people.
Oh, because you already you would have to officially throw in the towel on Drake May.
Cup of coffee.
On Drake May.
Cup of coffee's gonna hurt anything? You're not allowed to have friends? Oh. Here's what I like. This is why. Week 1. The big question for us in sports television is, hey, was that Week 1 performance just Week 1? Rusty, new system? Or was it indicative of something either more problematic or, we're going to talk about JJ, sign of things to come? Bro didn't have a good game. We're not here talking about like what's wrong with Bro.
Yeah, because of the track record.
Goff didn't have a good game. Not saying what's wrong with Goff. Tua didn't have a good game. We are saying that. Even though Tua has led the league with that offense, with those wide receivers, we've seen him do great things. I'm giving a little bit to watching a little bit of the Manning cast and having Peyton Manning's like, ooh, Brian Flores confused me on that.
Yeah.
That goes a long way with me.
No,
I would like to see him to go. He's got Detroit next, and Aaron Glenn's not there, and Ben Johnson knows what they're going to run. I'm just saying.
Can I say
I'm
something?
the best friend moving in. Oh, she can see other people now?
As I said 11 minutes ago.
Shoulder cry on.
He's mad at me.
I'm starting to believe
my
mad at you.
Before they're even my ex. Can I say one thing again as I try to repair our relationship? Critical of
we don't have a bad relationship.
He's very mad at me, guys. Critical of Ben Johnson. Because here's the deal.
Go ahead.
I am used to and I expect the older coaches to not be as good at game management as I am. That's fine. I do not accept it from a guy who's supposed to be cutting edge and is my age. And at the end of the game, when there's 2:02 left, you must ensure you save the 2-minute warning. Ben said his plan was kick it through the back of the end zone. Santos couldn't execute. Here's the problem, and this is maybe some people look at it as next level or whatever. If you're a brand new head coach, supposed to be the smart guy, you have to get this the way I got it instantly. The touchback these days is the 35.
Yeah.
What is the penalty for kicking it out of bounds? Or, more accurately, with the new kickoff rule, just tapping the football. Oh, it didn't land in the landing zone. The penalty is the 40. You could have guaranteed you get the 2-minute warning by telling Santos, here's your job. Walk up to the ball and tap it with your toe. It doesn't land in the landing zone. The ball is dead. No time runs off the clock. It is Minnesota ball at the 40, 2:02 left, guaranteed. You cannot risk losing the 2-minute warning on weak leg Cairo Santos being able to kick it out of the end zone when the maximum upside of that is 5 yards. You can guarantee you keep the 2-minute warning, give them the ball at the 40 by just tapping the football. Now, people listening, watching right now be like, oh, I hadn't thought of that. It's not your job. It is Ben Johnson's. I thought of it, and Peyton Manning on the Manning cast thought of it evidently as well. I wasn't watching that broadcast. But you can't, that's a huge error. Because they would have got the ball back with a minute left, and then who knows? That's a huge error that Ben Johnson can't make. Got to be better.
Well, they may have gotten it back with a minute left.
Well, they did get it back with 20 seconds, so I'm saying yes.
Depending on what they had done, you know.
Correct. Just something.
Bears in Detroit next week. Vibe check in Minnesota, very high. J.J. McCarthy threw for 2, ran in a touchdown as the Vikings scored 21 in the 4th. Sam Darnold's like, that used to be me. What do you make of JJ's comeback win, bro?
I mean, obviously his numbers weren't the greatest, but can you have a better debut than this? You know, I mean, when you do something no one in the history of the league has done, which was the 3 touchdowns in the 4th quarter, you know, for the comeback, like, it was great. He showed resilience. He showed toughness. Now, look, he did, in fairness, he got a big boost from his defense, which was just great in the second half. Only gave up the 7 points late in the game. And then from his run game, which they ran for 85 yards in the second half.
And a little from the officials.
All that did is give him time to ease into the game. And look, he didn't look rattled to me at the beginning. He wasn't doing much, but he was passing the ball fine when he threw it. He was under a little duress from the pressure from the Bears. But for him to bounce back from that pick 6 in his home city, on the road, in a huge standalone game on a team that was 14-2 last year and just let this quarterback who was in the MVP discussion go because of you, and you're facing a big name rookie, the number 1 pick opposite you, for him to do what he did was huge. And so you mentioned, Nick, when we were talking about Caleb, the emotional roller coaster, his demeanor, personality, whatever. That is so big for NFL quarterbacks. Like, that's one of the intangibles. Like, is this guy a leader of men? You know, do guys respect him and all that? And he seems to have that. That's certainly what he showed in this game. And I think his confidence and the team's confidence in him is going to take a huge jump because of this.
Well, listen, we can show you his fourth quarter versus the first 3. It's stark because he was having an awful game. He looked totally out of sorts. The pick 6, it looked like, ended the game. Yeah. You know what I mean? And he was seemingly no threat whatsoever. To go from that to that is stark. It's, almost more impressive than if he was just mediocre the first 3 quarters and then, turned it on. I also think the story within the story is this is why the Minnesota Vikings believed they could move off 14 wins. Because they believe that with that roster they currently have, the coaching they currently have, the situational sharpness, the flip side of the Ben Johnson mistake is KOC had clearly told him, no matter what, take it out. You know what I mean?
Cool.
Those things sets a floor. And so the floor obviously is not 14 wins, but the floor is higher than most. And so we'll roll the dice on upside and talent without, we don't think that if we're wrong about J.J. McCarthy, we're about to be in a barren wasteland the way the Giants or the Jets have found themselves when they have missed on a quarterback, because we like our roster, we love our coaches, we love our scheme, all those things. And so they take a chance on a kid who, it's really interesting, that game was a kind of what people said about him coming out of school, which was not that he would look bad and then look good, but like, can't explain it, but he never loses faith and the kid's a winner. And I typically don't like that type of analysis, but in college, he made the plays when they asked him to make the plays. In the pros, in his first game ever, he looks totally out of his depth until he has to be good, and then was really good and tough and didn't lose confidence. Right. You know what I mean? And so I think you got a glimpse of why people loved him. Some people loved him the way they did. I joked about during the draft process that whenever people talk about J.J. McCarthy, they talked about his handshake and what a good kid he was, not about like his throwing motion. But maybe for playing the quarterback position, some of those intangible things play a bigger factor than the numbers suggest, which it probably supports. That's a cousin of supporting your guy Jalen. Seriously.
I know that.
See, that's another nice thing I've said about Kevin Wildes, guys.
JJ versus Michael Penix on Sunday Night Football. Jalen Carter, currently not suspended for spitting on Dak. He's also not suspended. We're waiting for news from the league office. It might come down today. Brew, do you think Jalen Carter should be suspended?
I'm going to be honest. Some of this is probably just my personal fandom. No.
I agree.
I want to see him played in this game on Sunday against the Chiefs. But I feel like he didn't play in this game last week, right? Like he didn't play one snap. So that could be viewed as the suspension.
Does it matter to you that the league's official policy is that's not how it's viewed?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But I think mostly, I agree. But I think mostly, generally, you've played some portion of the game when you're suspended. Yeah. He played none. Look, if the league comes down on him and suspends him for a game, I'm not going to raise my voice in protest because I get it. It's a bad look. You got kids watching. You don't want that. But I don't think he has to be suspended. I think a hefty fine would suffice.
Okay. So just like you were saying, and I agree, it shouldn't play a role. It's not fair that it plays a role that this is a huge game and a Super Bowl rematch or whatever, but it does. Here's another thing that's not fair that it would play a role, but I wonder if it did. The college football player from Florida that spit on a kid this weekend.
You know what? I don't know if it's connected or not.
So
it's not nothing, but it's not.
So Brendan Bett,
something.
and he has since apologized, and it was his spit seemed more egregious than Jalen's, but he's also younger and not a pro. I saw that and I was like, I feel like I don't know how much of a percentage, but his odds of being suspended went up. Like Luis Suarez, soccer player, spit on a security guy and just got 3 games, but that just happened as well.
He bites people,
right? But that guy's kind of a little crazy. That to me is coincidental. This might also be coincidental, but there's an element of since we've been in this studio. Let's just go the last 4 years. We have not had a single college or pro football player of note in the discussion for spitting on a guy. And the fact that he does it Thursday,
Yep.
and then the Florida kid does it Saturday, I do wonder if the NFL almost feels a responsibility to make it clear this is not.
Right.
Obviously, it's not acceptable, but it is. The penalty is harsh. And so, I think that it is outrageous if people get mad that he's suspended. Right. You know what I mean? I think that a suspension is warranted. I also think that from a logical perspective, I agree with you, even though the rules say that wasn't a suspension, that was an ejection, that was a suspension.
Right.
And you know what I mean? And so I feel like they don't do this in the NFL. Like, I feel like if they said, hey, you have to miss the first quarter. You know what I mean? Like you have to miss, truly a full, complete game
they
plus.
won't do that.
Like I know that's not even allowed, but you know what? Like in college football, you can suspend a guy for a half or something. And so I also don't think he will be. But if he is, I honestly believe the Florida kid spitting was one of the reasons why.
Brutal.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people didn't spit.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe he should be like, my
okay.
counter-argument is most people did not.
Yeah. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.